Welcome to the Guaranteed Irish Business Podcast, where each week we're joined by the amazing leaders of Guaranteed Irish member businesses to chat all things business, sustainability, buying Irish, promoting Irish jobs, community, provenance, and so much more. Sponsored by FBD Insurance, Ireland's largest homegrown insurer. Support. It's what we do.
Hello and welcome to the Guaranteed Irish Business Podcast. My name is Sean and joining me today is Eoghan McGuinness, owner of Arnua, a unique jewellery company creating beautiful pieces inspired by Celtic history, the Irish landscape, and also a Guaranteed Irish member. Hi Eoghan, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming into us.
You're very welcome. Happy to be here.
So Eoghan, for anyone who might not be familiar with Arnua, give us the background. Where did the company come from?
It's a long story.
We have got some time.
I'll give you the short version. To be honest, I had no interest and inclination to get into making jewellery. I was 17 years old, looking for a part-time job in the back of the newspaper, as you did back in the day, 20 years ago now. And basically I went for an interview that I thought was a part-time job in a jewellery store, and turned out to be a jewellery manufacturer. So I loved it, ended up doing an apprenticeship, and long story short, here I am 20 odd years later, still doing it.
Very good. So your collections that you're most known for are obviously, you know, based on, as we mentioned, like Celtic heritage and culture. Who comes up with the designs? Is that yourself, and where do you really pull your inspiration from?
I try and take designs that are old designs and kind of put a bit of a modern twist on them, but bring them into the 21st century, so to speak, you know. I design everything myself. Everything is unique, and as I say, they all have a Celtic twist. They all have a little bit of heritage in there, but a lot of modern designs as well.
It's interesting to say, I'm actually wearing my Claddagh ring.
I've seen that
right now.
It's the first thing I notice about people is their jewellery that they wear whenever I meet them.
Do you guys get much business from outside of Ireland?
Mostly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. For the first, it's like I started in 2014, started Arnua in 2014, and it was nearly all US and Canada to begin with for the first couple of years. And what's turned it around was the pandemic, really, and the support with like the Guaranteed Irish and everything that they gave. People start finding, you know, coming back to buying Irish. So I get a lot of orders now from Irish companies, or people as well, sorry, not companies, but
very
people.
Good. Did you see much of a tail off through the exports as it picked back up again?
No, like, to be honest, it was just everything just kind of flowed right through the pandemic, everything, you know. Obviously there was challenges as everybody had, but it was all good. Very good.
Well, that's good to hear, because obviously so many others struggle, but it is nice to hear that you didn't so much. We were doing a piece just before Christmas on how a lot of companies, like, we were encouraging everyone to get the G under the tree for Christmas, and I know yourselves, you were on Guaranteed Irish Gift Study as well, and a big piece that we wanted to push was that a lot of smaller Irish companies had been doing very well during the pandemic, as everyone kind of went out of their way to buy Irish, and then this year, 2022 Christmas, they were struggling a little bit more, as you know, buying from Amazon everything that you could possibly need became a thing again, and people were getting deliveries 8 times a day, and my doorbell was ringing off the hook constantly. But that's a nice kind of good news story on the other side, to know that it never really kind of ebbed and flowed for you. It stayed constantly good throughout.
Yes, it did. Like, obviously, you know, the challenge that everybody faced during the pandemic, other companies, suppliers, they were closed down. I didn't have to close down. I worked alone. I had my own space. So the biggest challenges were really supplies. So some things I could carry on doing absolutely fine. Others just couldn't fulfill certain orders. But yeah, it was pretty much all good.
You guys offer wedding rings and bands also, beyond just like the traditional kind of Celtic jewellery. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's just a great part to do. I make each one is made to order, so it's nearly like each one is like a little bespoke order that I'm doing, which is the fun part of making jewellery, is making something a little bit different. So I do a lot from January to July, maybe, you know, main wedding season. But it's just so nice to do, you know, and a lot of them go to the US, and you get little stories back from the people who have bought the rings and how much they love them. And I actually met a couple there who were getting married in Ireland. They bought the rings from me, ordered them, and came and picked them up. I don't get to meet many of my customers because I'm all online mostly. And they came, I met them, we had a cup of coffee, we chatted, and it was really nice to meet customers from the US, and they were doing a little road trip around Ireland, and they came, picked the rings up, and got married down in Galway.
Very nice.
And got a lovely photograph back with a few photographs of them during the wedding and all. It's really nice.
That's lovely.
So
what's the process when you're doing the bespoke rings, whether it's for weddings or other things? Like, do you invite them in and kind of learn what they want? Do you sketch up designs, or do you just do what you like?
As I say, a lot of the time, I'm not meeting the people in person, so it's a process. So they would give a couple of ideas of what they want. I would throw back some sketches to them. I would make, if it's like platinum gold rings, I generally make up a cheaper silver model so they can see the actual finished piece. And then once everybody's happy, we go and we make the ring exactly to the customer specifications, and it's really that's it, But it's just nice. It's a lot of the jewelry is production line. But when you're making wedding rings, it's a special day. It's a little bit special to do, And I suppose knowing that your piece is going to be on somebody's finger for the rest of their lives as well, It's nice. Nice.
That's a lovely touch. I'm sure a lot of people, especially nowadays, as people try to move away from sort of fast fashion, for want of a better term, rather than just going to the jewellery store where the same piece has been produced, like you said, on a production line how many hundreds of times across the world.
Exactly.
To go to a smaller maker to make something bespoke there's only one of the world in it. It makes it almost like creating a family heirloom, because you make a wedding ring for someone, they might pass it on to their children or their grandchildren, and
that's the hope.
Yeah,
that is the hope.
It'd be nice to hear some stories about that in a few decades time. About the generational pass on of your rings. You're a member of the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland, who are also a Guaranteed Irish member. Tell us how you got involved with that and what it brings to Arnua.
The Design and Craft Council, they're when you go to your Leo when you're starting out your business, straight away they're sending you off to the Design and Craft Council. So they've been great. They have the directory where people can find you. They do their due diligence like Guaranteed Irish do. They do their due diligence. They don't let just anybody be a member. You have to have that Irish provenance to be allowed. So it's prestigious. Yourselves, Guaranteed Irish, and then like you have the Design Ireland section of the Design and Craft Council, which is a little bit more prestigious again. So they're my goals, is to, I'm trying to put together a high-end brand of jewellery rather than cheap things, So I want people to see that I'm being supported by the likes of Guaranteed Irish, Design and Craft Council, Design Ireland, So that's basically where I wanted to go with and why I joined.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I suppose especially as a smaller business, without really having to say much yourself, it does lend that maybe authenticity and credibility to everything you're doing, even competing with the big boys doing it alone. But you have the guarantee
exactly.
that what you're doing is of high quality, is Irish made and Irish produced. And actually, I wanted to bring it on then to talk about sustainability. Obviously, very important to everything we do in Guaranteed Irish and all of our Guaranteed Irish members as well. Tell us about your own sustainability journey, how you keep everything, especially maybe shipping abroad or your suppliers and raw materials.
Well, everything that I do was always important from day one. I like to recycle. I like to do the things to protect the planet. But all my jewellery, it's all made from 100% recycled materials. All my packaging, gemstones are lab grown, which is more environmentally friendly. All my suppliers are in Dublin. I support all the Irish suppliers and companies around. Try to keep my footprint as small as possible. I offset the emissions from deliveries. Everything is just recycled. I do as little printing as possible. I email all receipts and stuff, so if somebody wants to print them off, they can do it themselves, but I'm not going to go down that road.
Just little things.
Just little things, but that's all we can do, We're small businesses. We can only do little things to help, and if everybody does a little bit, that little bit turns into a big bit, you know. So I just want to know that when my time is up, I've done what I could, you know. So everything, as I say, compostable, recyclable. Yeah, it's important to me. So
fantastic.
I do it.
On the topic of that, then, obviously Christmas is the time of excess. How do you yourself make sure that you, one, stick to all of your kind of goals and ethos and kind of core values in terms of sustainability, and maybe not doing everything on like you said, like a production line, and how did you deal with maybe the increased demand for Christmas?
Organisation is the short answer to that, you know, just staying organised. Like this morning, I knew I was coming in here, I was losing a couple of hours out of my day. I got up and done it 6 o'clock this morning, did a few hours to make up for that.
Very good.
Because I have a certain amount of things I want to get done in a day, and my day finishes when I get that done. So it's just about being organised, I think. And once you stay organised, once you stay on top of things, it's pretty much flows and everything kind of just runs smoothly. For me, anyway.
Very good.
When I first started, I was very messy, couldn't find anything, piles of everything everywhere. So everything is nicely organised now. I know where I can reach for something. I used to spend 15 minutes just looking for something that was right under my nose. But now I can just reach for something, get it within seconds, and stop wasting time. I think if there's one piece of advice that I could give to anybody, it is be organised. And once, you know, you're obviously going to get under a little bit of pressure. Things are going to go wrong. Something's going to happen. But you know, once you're organised, once everything's flowing nicely, you stay in control. And
what do you find is the best way to stay organised? Do you have just like a pen and paper? Do you use apps to help you stay?
A little bit of everything, really. You know, I'll have notes everywhere, but I'll make a list at the end of every day. I make a list for myself of what I need to achieve the following day. And I stick to that list. I tick it off as the day goes on. I tick it off. Sometimes I get to it, sometimes I don't. You know, if I don't worry about it.
Well, I was going to ask how, with Valentine's Day now around the corner, one big event after another, especially for a jewellery company, how do you deal with maybe the stress and demand of one big day after another? But you've sort of already answered that.
I did.
What I'll ask instead is, how does Valentine's Day differ to Christmas in terms of maybe what kind of requests you get, what kind of products or different lines or designs that you sell from one to the other?
Yeah. Well, Christmas, kind of, everything just kind of comes in, you know. In January, I'll start getting requests for people looking for rings, people want to propose, people want something special made. I do a lot of bespoke jewellery, custom pieces for people. Yeah, it's to be less, how would you say, to be a lot more work coming in for Christmas, but easier to do. To be a lot less work for Valentine's Day, but each piece would have a little bit of complexity to it, you know. So you're doing less, but you nearly feel as if you're doing more, because
it's more of the bespoke work that kind of comes in through January.
Yeah, it's all the bespoke from January. I'd say well past Valentine's Day, but that's kind of where it starts. And
well, then you got St. Patrick's Day immediately after that as well.
I know.
Is that a big day for you as well, exporting to the US and Canada?
Wholesale wise, yes. Trade, not so much. I don't think people tend to buy gifts for Patrick's Day so much, you know, but people that go and visiting countries and parades and so on, shops like to be nice, well supplied with goods for St. Patrick's Day.
Do you provide wholesale products all around the world, or is it just a certain? No. And how did you set that up? How did you find distributors to sell your products all over the place?
Trade shows. It was actually how I found Guaranteed Irish as well. Like obviously I knew about Guaranteed Irish. I grew up seeing the G on all the products growing up, but basically, getting back to that, trade shows, people coming from all around the world to see the Irish products. And there's a fantastic company that's being set up now. It was set up during the pandemic. It's Arnua Craft. It's an American company. Basically a wholesale site for suppliers to shop online.
Very good.
I'm on that as well. So at times when you can't get to trade shows, in the US or Canada maybe for a particular year, for a particular reason, your products are still being shown.
Do you travel to the trade shows, or do you go to the ones only in Ireland?
I've been to the US once, but I do all the Irish ones, which is lovely. It's nice to just get out there and meet the people who just don't meet on a day-to-day basis.
And did you miss that kind of interaction with humans for a couple of years?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Did you notice maybe a negative knock-on to the business for a couple of years without that sort of ability to go out and meet people and promote the product in person?
There was a little bit. You see, during the pandemic again, as you say, wholesale did drop off, but the direct sales, retail,
kept you going.
Online picked up.
Very good.
So it was kind of a balanced out, So it didn't really have a negative impact. And then as soon as the pandemic was over and people could start shopping again, they were back to it. So it was a little bit of a knock on, but it didn't have much of an impact. And
it is great to be able to go out and meet people in person again, isn't it?
Fantastic.
we were at a trade show, actually, as it happens, only a couple of months ago. You could literally see the amount of business being done, the amount of collaboration being done. Similar to yourself, there was international companies present there and small Irish producers, a few of whom were Guaranteed Irish members. And again, you could see handshakes being done left, right and centre. Business cards were flowing, phone numbers were being shared. And you could see there would be a massive positive knock on to the economy from this, which just we hadn't had for what felt like forever.
It did feel like a lot longer, didn't it?
It did. So with that in mind now, and things kind of picking back up again, and we're out of the worst of it now, through 2023 and into the future, how does the future look for you? Any new plans, any new collections for the next couple of months or years?
Yeah. This year, it's another sustainable initiative. I'm working with a company, irishtrees.ie, to do tree planting. So for every so many items or orders sold, I'll be planting a tree to, again, trying to offset what I'm doing. So that's a really good one. And I have a couple of collections, 2 new collections launching this year. One is only for the trade, and the other one is open to everybody. But yeah, the Irish Trees initiative is a really good one. I'm really excited about that.
And other than that being obviously a fantastic initiative to be involved in, on like a business level, what will that bring back to Arnua, do you think?
I don't think it's going to bring anything back besides giving me a feeling of doing well,
Good. That's actually the exact answer I was hoping to get.
Yeah.
Because so often people would only really get involved with initiatives like this to have a nice piece in the paper or something like that. So it's actually really refreshing to hear that this isn't something you're really doing for the business. This is for you and your own sustainability goals and desires.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic.
Another thing I'd actually do as well, I give a percentage of my profits every year to a different charity at the end of every year.
Wow, fantastic.
Again, it's not something that I advertise. It's just it's not on the website or anything. I just do it just because it feels good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, so, that's a very inspirational message.
Thanks.
And I think that's important to kind of highlight that it is just yourself, and giving away your profits to charity or getting involved in initiatives like this for yourself. Nothing to do with the business. Not to promote or like pat yourself on the back or anything like that from a business point of view, not to increase sales. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And
Thank
like
you.
I said, I really wish more companies were like that. Really commend you on that. Congratulations.
That's
fantastic.
as I say, if everybody does a little bit, it adds up to a big bit,
Absolutely. So, well, here's hoping that a few of the listeners might pick up and do a little bit more themselves. Eoghan, thank you very, very much for coming in and joining us today. And to everyone listening, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and if you would like to gift Guaranteed Irish, our newer products can be found right now on guaranteedirishgifts.ie. The link will be in the show description. Eoghan McGuinness, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
The Guaranteed Irish Business Podcast, sponsored by FBD Insurance, Ireland's largest homegrown insurer. Support. It's what we do.